Om Sri Sairam. Upanishad Vahini by Bhagavan Sri.Sathya Sai Baba. Chapter 5, Maandukya Upanishad. This Upanishad is the kernel of Vedanta, the most profound among all the Upanishads. It is the chief one, having the distinction of being recommended as enough by itself to lead man to salvation. It is very brief, consisting of just a dozen mantras. They are divided into 4 chapters. Origin, that is agama, falsehood, Vaithatya, non-duality, Advaita, and extinction of the firebrand. Alata Shanti. In the first chapter, the secret doctrine of the Om, that is Pranava, which is the key to self-realization, is expounded. In the second chapter, the doctrine of dualism, the great obstacle to liberation, is discussed and refuted. In the third, the non-dual Advaita, unity, is propounded. In the last chapter, certain mutually contradictory non-Vedic doctrines are described and rejected. No sound is beyond the ken of Om. They are all Om, its permutations and products. Brahman is also Om, identified by it and with it. The Brahman, which is beyond vision, is manifest for vision as Atma. The waking, dream and sleep states are appearances imposed on the Atma. The distinctions of waking state, dream state and sleep state, Vishwa, Taijasa and Prajna, are but appearances imposed on the Atma. That is to say, the Atma continues the same unaffected by the waking, dreaming and deep sleep stages of man's existence. This Atma and the Atma that one refers to as I are basically the same. The I or the Atma swims like a fish in the river, paying no regard to this bank or that, though the waters are limited and guided by them. In deep sleep, all the impulses, that is, vasanas, are suspended. Though they still persist, they are not manifest or active. In the dream state, one follows the impulses and wins satisfaction in the process. All the manifold pulls and attractions of the sensory world, which impel one toward the surrounding objects, are born during the waking and dream stages. The mind is full of agitations, and these are the fertile fields where the impulses grow, multiply and strike root. As a matter of fact, it is the agitating mind that causes creation, that is Srishti, and that is behind all creation. Transcend the mind and senses, Turiya. However, there is a 4th stage that is distinct from these 3. It is named Turiya. This stage cannot be described by words or even imagined by mind, for it is beyond both intellect, buddhi, and mind, the manas. The experience is inadequately described as peace, grace, and oneness. Shantam Shivam Advaitama. That is all. The mental agitations are stilled, so there is no more mind. It is the conquest of the mind, its negation, the mindless stage. What a victory it is! For in deep sleep, the mind is latent, while dreaming, the mind is restless with agitations. And in the waking stage, it is active and motivating. In all three stages, truth remains unknown. The objective world is but a delusion of the agitated mind, the superimposition on the rope of a non-existent snake. The world is not born, nor does it die. It is born when you are ignorant and dies when you become wise. Om is the symbol of the supreme Atmic principle. The Om of the Omkara representing the stages of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep of existence, each have a particular role in spiritual practice. Worship, which emphasize more, makes one realize all desires. If U is concentrated upon, spiritual wisdom increases. And if M is specifically dwelt upon in the worship, the final merging of the soul in the Supreme is effected. The worshipper of Om Pranava will also earn knowledge of the truth of the world and creation. Therefore, the worshipper of the Om draws to themselves the reverence of all. The A, U, and M proceed from one to the other in the Om and finally merge in a letterless resonance which thins out into silence. That is the symbol of peace, Shanti. The auspicious, that is Shiva, and the non-dual Advaita, the merging of the individualized soul in the universal after shedding the limiting particulars of name and form. That is not all. Gaudapada's commentary on this Upanishad, verses 24-29, praise the Om as the cause of creation. It is extolled as quenching all grief. Why? One who ruminates on the Om, ever aware of its significance, can steadily move on to an awareness of the real behind all this unreal appearance of the supreme Atmic principle, Paramatma Tattva itself. Brahman is the cause of all causes, never an effect. In the first section of the commentary, the non-dual Advaitic uniqueness of the Atma is established in a general way. In the second, as has been said, the positing of the two entities, God and the world, is shown as empty and evanescent. In the section called specifically non-dualism, that is Advaita, the doctrine is established by arguments and affirmations. At first, the world was latent and unmanifest. The creator Brahma is himself an effect. So, reflection of the effect will not lead man to the source of all things. The Brahma revealed in this Upanishad is not the effect. It is the primal cause. It is neither born nor limited. It isn't broken into all this many. The Atma is like ether, akasa, all pervasive. It may seem enclosed in certain limits like a pot or a room, and it may be spoken of as individualized, but there is no truth to that limitation. The body is also like the pot, which for all appearances limits the sky enclosed in it. There is no innate distinction between the sky in the pot and the sky outside. Take away the limiting factor, and they are all one. When the body is destroyed, the individual soul, that is Jiva, merges with the universal, that is Paramatma. The limitation appears to qualify the Atma, but the Atma is the highest Atma, Paramatma itself. The individual soul can never be considered a limb or an adaptation of the highest Atma. Non-dualism is the highest truth. The birth and death of individual souls, that is Jivis, and their wanderings in space and from one world to another are all unreal. It is appearance, not reality. Go deeply into the matter, you will find that duality, Dvaita or appearance, is not opposed to non-duality, the substratum. The opposition is between various dualistic religions and schools of thought. For the non-dualist, all is Supreme Brahman, Paramatma, or Parabrahman. So, no opposition is known. For the dualist, there is always the atmosphere of attachment and pride and hate. For where there are two, there is always fear, attachment, and all the consequent passions. Non-dualism is the highest truth. Dualism is a certain mental attitude. So, dualism can move you only as long as the mind is active. In sleep or samadhi, there is no cognition of two. When ignorance, avidya, prevails, difference is rampant. When spiritual wisdom, that is vidya, is established, union is experienced. So there is no opposition or quarrel between dualism and non-dualism. The rope is the cause of all illusion and delusion. Brahman is the cause of all illusion and delusion, connoted by the word world or Jagat. Attain the no-mind state with non-attachment and discrimination. It is not correct to say that the Supreme Atma, Paramatma, is born as the world. For how can one's essential quality, Swabhava, be changed? Manifoldness is not the characteristic of the Supreme Atmic principle, Paramatma Tattva. The scriptures declare this in many contexts. Why? They even condemn those who see it as many. The witness of all the phases of the mind, of even its annihilation, can never be known by the mind. That witness alone is eternal, unaffected by time and space. That is the Atmic consciousness, Atma Chaitanya. The truth, that is Satya. The rest is all unreal. Turn the mind away from the sensory world through the practice of discrimination and non-attachment. Then you attain the no-mind experience. Well, you have to remember another thing. Trying to control the mind without a clear understanding of the nature of sensory world is a vain, valueless effort. The attachment will not end. The agitation will not cease so easily. Transcend all agitations and attachments. Attachments and agitations sprout at the first chance. What has to be done is to develop inertness of the mind during the deep sleep stage into a stage of permanent ineffectiveness. When the conviction that all sensory experiences are unreal is well and truly stabilized, the mind will no longer function as a distracting agency. It will lie powerless as a defunct limb. However hungry people are, they certainly won't crave for excreta, will they? To know that the Atma, which is the goal of realization, is devoid of sleep, birth, name, form, and so on, to know that it is eternally self-effulgent. Nitya Swayam Prakasa is to transcend all agitations of the mind. Attempting to curb the mind without the aid of discrimination or attempting to make known the unreality of objects is as foolish and fruitless as attempting to empty the ocean using a blade of grass. Be firmly fixed in the conviction that the world is a myth. Then you can aspire to perfect peace, prashanti, and fearlessness, abhaya. Cause-effect nexus is delusory ignorance. As the motivating force behind every birth or product, there should be a purpose, either existence, sat, or non-existence. Exactly what transformation takes place, the cause, karana, undergoes change, vikara, and gets transformed into the effect, karya. Well, existence has no change, so no birth is possible from it. Non-existence is void, so nothing can emanate from it. Existence and non-existence are inconceivable together. Therefore, logically, nothing can be born or produced. Cause cannot become effect. When you remember fire, you don't feel the heat. Only when you hold fire in your hand do you experience the heat. So too, all objects are different from knowledge, jnana about them. Knowledge is one thing, actual experience is another. Moreover, the search for the first cause is an endless adventure. Even in the complete absence of the snake one sees in the rope, it's all a figment of imagination. In dreams, with nothing concrete, all the joy and sorrow of manifoldness are undergone. For mechanizations and inferences of the mind, no basis or explanation is needed. Irresponsible inferences about the unreal world will pester the mind as long as the illumination of truth is absent. The clasping of delusion is the fate of those who are steeped in ignorance, avidya or ajnana. This Upanishad declares in unambiguous terms that existence, Sat, can never be the cause for the effect, namely non-existence. The external world is created by our own subconscious mind, chitta, like smoke emanating from the burning incense stick. Everything is appearance as a superimposition, an apparition. Something mistaken to be there but really non-existent. The atmosphere of ignorance, ajnana, is the fertile field for their birth and multiplication. Worldly illusion, which has the dual characteristic of evolution, of origin and ruin, is the fruit of this mistake. Transcend pulsating consciousness, which is the cause of creation. Since the Supreme Atma, Paramatma, is the whole being, that is Sarvatma Svarupa, no possibility of cause-effect or wish fulfillment or purpose product appears in it. For one who has had the vision of Atma, all is Atma. The illusion infected, that is Maya infected seed will sprout into an illusion infected tree. Both are false and fleeting. So too, both the birth and the death of the individual are false. They are mere words signifying nothing. The things seen in dreams are not distinct from the dreamer, are they? They may appear as different and as outside of the dreamer, but really they are part of the dreamer, arising out of their own consciousness. One who is the witness has no beginning or end. That one is not bound by duties or obligations, right or wrong. To know this and to get firm in the knowledge is to attain liberation from the shackles. It is the quivering of the consciousness, chitta, that causes things to originate. Pulsating consciousness is the cause of creation. Contemplate on this and reach up to the union stage, turiya of consciousness. Then, name, form, object, and being, nama, rupa, vastu, and bhava, all get merged in the one all-pervasive, all-inclusive Atma. This Upanishad teaches man the essential philosophy in the briefest terms. It does not refer in the least to activity, karma, or kindred subjects. It concerns itself purely with the science of Atmic principle, that is, Atma Tattva. This concludes the Maandukya Upanishad. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.